Hello and welcome to the round 6 of the League of Europe Porsche Cup Series. We're here at Nurburgring GP. Midway through qualifying, apologies for the delay, but we've still got 6.5 minutes left of qualifying, so we'll still crack on with that. I was a bit delayed, a bit running late getting towards, so apologies if I'm sounding a bit rushed. I'm just getting up the championship standings now. If you give me a moment. Hello to whoever's just joined. I'm just getting the championship standings, and I will get back to commentating in 2 minutes. So, the championship standings coming into this race are: Campbell leads the way on 161 points. Behind him in second, 115 is Palmer. Third is Kyle, 135. Whiteout is fourth with 126. B5 is fifth. Chies is sixth. Dan is seventh. Wildest Monk is eighth. J. Cole is ninth. Nico is 10th. Stajar is 11th. James Head is 12th. Ancient Pleb is 13th. Noble is 14th. Fun Anywhere is 15th. Jackster is 16th. Conrod Racing is 17th, B Morgan is 18th, and Pagan is 19th, and I believe he has left the championship. So we've got a bit of a squabbling for positions going on between ART Kyle and the two SLM drivers, as SLM Palmer actually takes provisional pole position, with Campbell just coming in behind him in second. James Head on his return to League of Europe Porsche Cup after a couple of weeks out to participate in, or commentate on, I can't remember which one it was, on the esports mini league. Chies having a strong showing in his last couple of races in RLH. Of course, the RLH season now starting. Palmer and Chies wanting to improve on their RLH results. They've had a couple mid-table finishes from there, but they are obviously very quick drivers from what we've seen in the Porsche Cup. Maybe just getting a bit used to the format of RLH with there being setups, whereas Porsche Cup doesn't have setups. Of course, they're all in the same car. So at the moment, Whiteout and Kyle with their blacked out liveries in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. Of course, with the tragic scenes that are going on at the moment, but we'll try and have a bit of a distraction from all that going on with a race tonight at the Nurburgring GP. Best not to get into politics when there's a good race to be had. So how many drivers have we got tonight? We have got 12 drivers tonight, so it's a bit better than last week where I think only 5 or 6 finished. But it's been a good season so far. We're just past the halfway point. Of course, this is round 7 actually, and my apologies for saying it was round 6 earlier, so we're past the halfway point now. Including this one, there are 4 races to go: Nurburgring, Spa, Suzuka and Laguna Seca. Of course, can't really talk about which car will be more suited to different tracks, of course, because they're all the same cars. We saw in RLH on Monday that the Porsche was definitely not suited at all to Dragon Trail, so it's a good thing that's not on the calendar for this, but of course it doesn't really make a difference if everyone is in the same car with the same setups. Palmer coming out now, he'll get another lap in after this outlap. Campbell is he's gone purple at the moment, but if he wants to do another lap, he'll have to pull in this lap. No, he stays out. Comes across the line now. Let's see what he does. He does a 54.803, so only a third of a tenth behind Palmer, but that's not good enough for pole as it stands. He'll have a chance for 2 more laps, but not in time. He won't have time for a tyre change. So he's got to rely on the lower fuel to improve, whereas Palmer will be on similar fuel but fresher tyres. So Palmer, it's really his to lose at the moment. He's got pole position for now, and he's going to have the freshest tyres out of the top runners. Joint with Kyle, it looks like. and James Head on his return. A strong return for him at the moment in 5th, but still 1.1 seconds off the lead. Seems like a two-horse battle at the moment between Palmer and Campbell. Of course, these two the closest battle in the championship aside from Kyle and Whiteout, but they are the closest at the top. Campbell leads the championship and not actually having won, whereas Palmer has had 2 wins this season. He's had 3 on track, but 1 was taken away from him on penalties. Campbell should have won a couple more races, but he's had some bad luck since the beginning of the season. At Monza he should have won. I can't remember exactly what happened at the top of this. Red Bull Ring he got unlucky, Brands Hatch again unlucky. But Palmer has really been able to capitalise on it, and all credit to him. You can't take anything away from that. He is really capitalised on the mistakes and misfortunes to others, and quite often, like at Austria, he just had the best pace out of anyone. He was unbeatable at Austria, and was actually much the same at Brands Hatch. But currently he does lead the session. We'll ride on board with him for the moment. He's coming up to a bit of traffic, so this might hold him up, and this is going to be his final lap of the session, so this may be a hindrance to him. He may have made a mistake here, although he is 2/10 purple, so you could view it as he's getting a nice slipstream, but that might hold him up towards the end of the lap as he catches up to James and his teammate Chais, as he's really on the back of James Head now, so that it's going to be interesting to see whether it has an effect on his lap. We'll keep on board coming up to the next sector line, which is after this hairpin. As you can see, confirmation there, we're on the final lap of qualifying. James Head pulls out of the way. Good sportsmanship from him there, obviously may not have been improving. Coming through the Schumacher rest, doesn't take it flat. Of course, might not be possible on soft tyres with no setup. Now he's going to have a good, this is going to be perfect for him now. He's going to have a nice slipstream behind his teammate Chais, who I'm sure will be doing everything he reasonably can without impeding himself to help his teammate along. He's lost a couple of tenths in that sector between the hairpin and that right-hander, but he's going to have a little bit of a slipstream now, bit of a tow coming up to the final few corners through the chicane. Chais makes some mistakes there, so he might jump out of the way, but it's going to give, yeah, he's going to jump out of the way. No, he doesn't. He thinks about it but stays there, giving Palmer a little bit of a slipstream. These two will of course be in a party together. Let's have a look. Can Palmer improve? He's coming across the line now just behind his teammate Chais, and he makes an improvement of 2/10, so he's 2/10 clear of Campbell. Campbell's on the final lap of the race of the qualifying session now, coming up to the final few corners. He'll be wanting to improve. Has to improve by 2.5 tenths basically to secure that pole position, but there's still the threat from Jackster and Whiteout, and even Kyle and James. But no, James has finished his session. So Campbell comes across the line now. It doesn't look like he's going to do it. No, he's lost it on those older tyres. And that is 2nd position for Campbell, 3rd for Jackster, 4th for Whiteout, 5th for Morgan. Only 6th position for ART Kyle. That's poor for his high standards. James Head is in 6th. Is of course Kyle winning the last race out at Bathurst. Chai's in 8th, V5 in 9th, J. Cole in 10th, Wildest Monk in 11th, and Conrad down in 12th position, rounding out the back of the field. Is there anyone still on a lap? I don't believe so. So that is your qualifying order there that I've just read through. Palmer takes pole position, 2/10 clear of Campbell. Doing that real hot run after, I believe that's 4 pole positions in a row for SLM Palmer. So good showing from him, and that he's obviously got the pace to win it, but has he got the racecraft? We'll see in the next 40 minutes or so. So Palmer on pole, just behind him Campbell, Jackster in 3rd. We're missing Nico tonight, I believe, for mini league commitments, as we wait for the lights to go. 4 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. The lights go green. Bit of wheel spin from Palmer there, but he gets a great start ahead of Campbell. Campbell has nothing to answer with that start, and Chise has not had a good start, up to 4th position, taking Whiteout up into turn 1, and now he's looking up the inside of Campbell as well. And that is Chise up from, I believe, 5th position to 3rd on the first few corners, as I'll save that replay marker there. We'll get a look at that, but it's a SLM 1-2 at the moment with Campbell just behind. He looks up the inside of Chise and there's a bit of contact there. But Chise retains the position and Campbell actually drops down to 4th position. From the off-board shots, that looked like a bit of an opportunistic move from Campbell, but now he's on the inside of Whiteout and he's probably going to have to give that position up. Yep, Campbell drops behind Whiteout and Whiteout up into 3rd. Kyle looking to capitalise on Campbell's mistakes as well. And all this has allowed Palmer to pull out another gap at the start of the race, like he has in the last few races. Of course, spinning last week at Bathurst, costing him the win from the lead. But this way he'll want to be getting, he'll want to avenge that mistake last week, and he's already had a good start here, up into 1st position and leading the race. His teammate Chise had a really good start, up into 2nd, Whiteout in 3rd, Campbell in 4th, and Kyle in 5th. James Campbell looking up the outside, but no move there. We'll have a look at the start of the race. Yeah, so Chise may have actually started 4th. Bit of contact there, but it looked like a bit of a late move, but it looked, I doubt there'd be a penalty for that. It was a pretty ballsy overtake, if I'm allowed to say that, but that is Chise up into 2nd place, but now Whiteout is right on the back of him. Chise didn't seem to have the raw pace of these cars around him. He just had a really good start. But Chise holds on to the position for now. He'll want to be the rear gunner for Palmer right now. He knows he hasn't got the same pace as him, as he's pulled away to a 2-second gap from Chise. But he'll want to be retaining as good a result for SLM and his teammate Palmer as he possibly can. And if he gets the added bonus of finishing 2nd, then of course that is a real big bonus. Kyle's dropped back a bit from Campbell, so Kyle obviously not too much on the pace today. He did say last week how he doesn't really practice too much. He hasn't got time to practice much at the moment, but he's just been overtaken by James Head. Great move there from the Gulf Racing coloured car. Let's have a look back at that in the replay. Looked to the outside, muscled his way through, stuck it around the outside, and that is James into 5th position. So Campbell now right on the back of Whiteout, so maybe a mistake from Whiteout. Yes, he has. He's got a 2-second penalty, so that is going to have a real impact on his race now. He's going to have to serve that on this lap on the main straight, and that will let Campbell back up into 3rd position. At the moment, I believe Palmer is taking the championship lead if it finishes the same way as it is now. And of course, Whiteout serving that penalty has put him right in the clutches of James Head. He looks round the outside of turn 1, but there's no move to be had there. Whiteout just retains 4th position, but he's dropped 2.5 seconds to Campbell. And this has allowed Chise to have a slight gap to the QVR driver behind him. And it's still an SLM 1-2 for the time being. Conrad doing well, up in 6th position, doesn't have a Jackster. As I say that, Jackster's looking up the inside, but there's a bit of contact between the two, and Conrad needs to keep that position. Wilder Smoker in 8th, B Morgan in 9th, the other QVR driver, J Cole in 10th, V5 in down in 11th on the medium tyres, of course, on the alternate strategy, and Kyle's had a big incident somewhere. I completely missed that. I had no idea what happened to him. I would assume it would be a spin or something of the sort. It doesn't look like he's pitted or anything. But the gap Campbell already caught half a second on this lap so far. And I reckon it's only a matter of time before Charles would have to concede that position, but he's going to try and hold him up as much as he can to protect the lead of Palmer. Gap now less than a second, so Campbell will be in the tow now and will really be able to draft his way back up to the leader in Palmer. But the gap now between Chais and Palmer is 3.1 seconds. So we said this last week at Bathurst, but of course it looked to be a bit of a commentator's curse as Palmer spammed. But Palmer, it's his to lose at the moment as he leads the field by over 3 seconds. The gap now between Chais and Campbell is only 8/10 of a second. So this will really, he's got to really defend the position now and try and prevent Campbell from catching up to his teammate. Campbell, of course, will be fuming after being after have to concede that position to Chais at turn 1 after a bit of contact between the two drivers. But Palmer leads with the fastest lap and pole position, so he's on course for a second Grand Slam of the season. Whiteout down in 4th, James Head doing well up in 5th. He's right on the back of Whiteout after still even a lap after Whiteout got that slowdown penalty. The gap now 6/10 between Chais and Campbell, so we'll focus on this battle for a moment. But Campbell has dropped back in that last sector. The gap now 9/10 of a second. Was there a major mistake going on there? Not really, just a maybe a poor sector from the QVR driver there. But the gap now back down to 7/10 of a second. James Head still on the back of Whiteout, but Whiteout looks to have solidified that position for now. Conrad just ahead of Jackster, who looks up the inside of turn 1, brakes later, but he goes pretty deep there. Conrad might be able to get the switchback, which he does, and that's going to give the opportunity for Morgan to have a look round the outside as well. Morgan right on the back of Jackson now, but he loses the back end, and all three of them look to have a drift through turn 4, as I have to count those in my head for a second. Morgan really pushing to get past Jackson now, but we'll focus back on Chais. The gap now only 2.5 tenths as Campbell's looking at the inside of the hairpin. He's going to have a great run through the Schumacher S, but he may have to lift off in the dirty air. The gap less than 3/10 of a second now. Let's ride on board with the QPR driver as Chais has had a poor exit out of the Schumacher S. He doesn't go defensive, and that's going to allow Campbell to have a look up the inside. Chais not giving much space there. Bit of a door-to-door action going on there, but seems pretty it's very, if I can actually speak, it's very close for the moment. Campbell is still in 3rd position, but he'll really be desperate to push past him now, as he's now 5.5 seconds behind Palmer, who's really stormed ahead. Chais getting a poor run out of there, and that's going to allow Palmer to maybe look around the outside. As that is Chais into the pit lane, maybe look at the undercut. His teammate as well, Palmer's gone in, so Campbell will be the provisional leader of this race while the two SLM drivers pit. He'll have to really push now in the clean air to try and take advantage. It's going to be close between him and Chais, unless let's see if Chais is putting any fuel in. He's gone. He is. He's putting fuel in. Let's see how long his pit stop was. doesn't say, but he's filled up quite a lot of fuel and he's on the medium tyres. Campbell will really need to be pushing now. Maybe he's been saving a bit more fuel than Chai's being stuck behind him. Palmer also refueled a bit, but Chai's looked to refuel quite a bit more. So the gap between Campbell and Palmer is only actually 2.8 seconds, and that's with Campbell having completed a pit stop. So not a good sign for Campbell's race at the moment. Let's see if the gap closes down. It's not closing down massively with Palmer on those fresher medium tyres, but of course they are harder. Campbell actually looks to be pulling away slightly, but he's still 1.4 seconds off his pace. So Palmer not really retaining that gap, and as that, like, Campbell pulls into the pits now, so will he be refueling and will he jump ahead of Chais, who's down in 6th position and probably being held up by some of that traffic? As we get a very loud buzzer there from the pit lane. As Campbell comes out, let's have a look. Where is Chais? He's just coming down the straight now, so it looks like Campbell has got this position. Did he refuel? He didn't. No, it looked like he did not refuel, so it's all going to bring itself closer together in the next pit stop. But that is Campbell up into 2nd position in the clear air, as Chais has got through the traffic in front of him. James Head still just behind Whiteout in 5th position. Behind them, Jackster. J. Cole, V5, who's looking up the inside of J. Cole now. Looking around the outside of turn 4. No, he looks for the switchback. No, he doesn't. Runs a bit wide, but he's going to get a good exit up to turn 5. But doesn't make the move. So the gap now, 4.7 seconds between Palmer and Campbell. So the gap staying at about 4.7 seconds for the time being. Chais isn't really catching up to Campbell, so he'll have to really hope his strategy is going to pay off here, refueling early on. V5 still right on the back of J. Cole, as I believe yet V5 is on the softer tyres. It's a 3-way battle for 7th position at the moment. 4-way battle, even though it looks like Morgan pulling over to serve a penalty, as V5 is now going to look up the inside of turn 1. He dives down, brakes late, gets that move done pretty cleanly. J. Cole's going to look for the switchback there side by side. Bit of contact between the two, and that's V5 off into the grass. He tries to save it, and he does a great job not to spin off there. But that may be a steward's report coming his way, and that has promoted Conrad up into P7. V5 still behind J. Cole after all of that. Did very well not to spin off there and his car head off into the barriers. So I'm going to have I can't have a water break yet. Got to focus on this action with V5 still in 9th, but now Kyle, who looks to have climbed his way up the field a bit. He's done a pit stop onto the medium tyres now, and he's right on the back of this train. This is really going to be hurting his championship chances. As his biggest rivals are in 1st, 2nd and 5th, and he's all the way down in 10th, only getting maybe 1 point. Not sure how many points 10th position actually gets. Campbell slowly catching up to Palmer now. Palmer on a little bit more fuel, but it looks like he's still the man to beat here tonight. James Head and Whiteout still stuck together as we saw earlier, and that's V5 looking up the inside of J. Cole, but thinks better of it. J. Cole right on the back of Conrad as well, as we'll jump on board. Oh, as Conrad has spun it just as I've said that. No, but didn't mean to replay it from back there. Can we get a look there? Conrad touches the grass. Yep, all by himself. Touches the grass there, and that is him down. After all that hard work, getting up to 7th position, that is him down in 11th, second to last. J. Cole only just ahead of V5, who's looking up the inside now. He's got the fresher, softer tyres. Now he's got the outside line for turn 4. Where is V5? He's had to stay on the inside for the next corner. Looks up the inside of turn 5, squeezes him slightly. J. Cole still retains that position. A great battle between these two drivers, and that's allowed Kyle to get in the mix as well, as he looks to get out the inside of V5, but no room there. V5 now going to make a move up into the hairpin. No, he doesn't. Kyle looks around the outside of him. Now V5 looks to squeeze up the inside of J. Cole. Really close battle for 7th position here between J. Cole, V5 and Kyle. Kyle on paper the quickest out of these drivers, but he is on the harder tyres along with J. Cole, as now V5 looks up the inside into the left-hander. No option there. Maybe the right-hander. No. Too much of a fast corner to make a move there. But now Kyle is going to be right on the tail of V5, so let's take a look on board with him coming up to the final chicane. No, he's not. He's dropped back a bit out of that corner, and now V5 is right on the back of J. Cole as well. Is he going to make a move there? No. Very difficult place to overtake, even though it is one of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit. It's such a tight chicane that it's really difficult to overtake as V5 pulls into the pits, maybe trying to get the undercut on J. Cole, and this is going to allow Kyle to pounce on... Excuse me. Kyle now only 6 tenths behind 7th position J. Cole, so these two are going to really want to push, try and stay ahead of V5, who will be trying to get the undercut. Kyle looks for a very late move, but luckily he doesn't go for it there, because that would have been a bit of a dive. But doesn't make that move. Palmer's pulled out a bit of a gap to Campbell, so maybe he had a penalty or a mistake somewhere on that lap, but Chise has dropped back even further. Has Chise pitted? No, he hasn't, so he's made a mistake somewhere as well, or had an instant, because he's right on the... Jackster behind him is right on his tail now. Whiteout and James still separated by only a second. They're pretty identical on fuels and tyres if you look at the bottom left. Kyle right on the back of J. Cole still. That is the closest gap we have for now. A lot more action than we had last week at Bathurst, of course, with there being 12 drivers. Almost a full grid of 15. But it's still Palmer that leads as we approach the halfway stage, and I'll take a quick water break. welcome back. Sorry about that small break. We are back. We've just seen Chise has pulled into the pit lane and refueled a lot. He's on the soft tyres, probably making one more stop, but probably won't have to refuel. Palmer, of course, still leading the race by 5.5 seconds. Sorry. Coming a second. Jackster currently up in third, but he was just behind Chise before the pit stops, but Chise is now stuck in a bit of a train behind J. Cole and Kyle, and Kyle has actually got past J. Cole in the last couple of laps. And that's Kyle making a decent recovery from very near the back of the grid after lap one or two, sorry, down into Whiteout still only 2 tenths ahead of James. Really close battle between these two guys. Not much in terms of chopping and changing, but just been on each other's tails the entire race. As James is going to get a good run through towards the final chicane now, but he's not going to be quite close enough to make a dive up the inside. There's a little look, but obviously not really the chance of a move there. As Carl really loses the back end. It's been a bit of a signature move from him in this race so far. He's quite often lost the back end out of the final chicane up towards the final corner. So will James Heavy making a move up into turn one? No, a little bit too far back still. Have a look back at the lead. Not being too tight. Let's have a look back at the lead. Palmer still 5.5 seconds ahead. Campbell just behind in third. Second, sorry. Jackster 7 seconds behind him in third. Whiteout in fourth. James Head fifth. Chise in sixth. Kyle in seventh. J. Cole in eighth. Morgan in ninth. V5 in 10th. Conrad 11th. And we've had a driver leave. Not sure who that was. Who's left? Wildest Monk. As he's just left the room. Jackster will be pitting this lap. He's on very low fuel now. So we'll just share the stream. People asking. And we'll also check the comments, see if we've got any. Got a few comments which I will read out in a moment. Any more questions or anything, please send them my way in the comment section or message me on the Discord. Keelan says, come on Palmer and Chise. Carcannon says, Palmer troubles Campbell. First place in the general standing is going to change, I see. It looks, I believe that Campbell will just hold it only by 4 points if it stays as it is. But if pole and fastest lap count for anything, it will be 2 points if there's a point for each. Sharon, of course, back again, says, come on Palmer. Yep, it's going well for him this week, Sharon. Alex says, go on Palmer as well. And Sidemax Motorworks commenting, good luck Sidemax, as I believe there is, they've got a new driver who is one of the drivers in this field. But I believe it hasn't been officially announced yet, so I won't reveal who it is unless Sidemax comments for me to do so. But I think I know who they're talking about, the Sidemax driver in this field. At the moment, he's doing pretty well. I'll give you that. He's doing pretty well. Campbell has caught up 8 tenths of a second to Palmer on this lap. Palmer's got a bit more fuel than him though, so he'll be able to go another lap after this. But these guys only will have 1 stop remaining, it looks like. Pardon me. So will Palmer come in this lap, or will he save it for the next lap? He has got a big enough gap to be able to afford to do what he likes with the strategy at the moment. There will be Campbell coming in this lap on barely any fuel. This might just be perfectly timed pit stop. Let's have a look at his percentage. Yep, he's only on 2%, so only a few hundred metres more and he would have been out of fuel. Whiteout still just ahead of James. Chai's in 5th. It's going to be interesting to see where Campbell comes out now. Let's have a look at the QVR driver. He's refuelling quite a lot, so it will be close between him and Chai's, but I believe after that mistake Chai's losing 3 seconds, this might be the end for him, as he's still behind James and Whiteout. And he's he's a few seconds behind Campbell still. So, and it looks like he'll probably have to pit again, as he went onto the softs a few laps ago, and there's still 12 minutes remaining of this race. So Chais has made his way past James Head. My keyboard wasn't really working there. Looks like James Head got a poor run out of turn 4 and maybe backed off to let Chais through. Of course, the faster driver from this evening. And now Chais is also right on the back of Whiteout. Whiteout and James, of course, on really worn medium tyres. Chais is on pretty worn softs, but they'll still be in much better condition and much better pace than these two drivers around him, as Kyle sort of will probably concede that position. He tries to stick it around the outside a little bit, but eventually lets him pass through. As Palmer comes into the pits now on 6% of fuel. Let's see the gap between him and Campbell as he comes out of the pits. It will probably be around the same, if not more. So let's have a look at the gap between them. Palmer will just be leaving the pit lane now. Yes, he does. He's at the end of the straight. Campbell down the middle of it. Let's see the gap down to 3.5, but that should increase again as Palmer pulls away out of the corner. Nope, it's only 3.13 seconds. Down to 3 seconds, but Palmer is on 1 lap fresher tyres. Palmer looks like he refueled a little bit more than Campbell, and Campbell must have just been really pushing on that out lap as well, getting the undercut on him, and he's gained 2.5 seconds basically on that lap. Chais is down in 3rd, 9.5 seconds behind, but it looks like if he can hold off Jackster, he will retain that position. But Jackster is going to be a real threat now, because he's on fresher medium tyres, and Chais's tyres will be starting to go off now, and Jackster's will be hitting their peak. So it's going to be interesting between these two. Chais, after getting a great start into 2nd position, may have to settle for 4th by the end of the race. The gap staying at about 1 second for now. Campbell will be really pushing to catch up to the SLM driver, as I will take another quick water break. Giles does pull into the pits there, as predicted, and he's now got 6 seconds to make up to Jackster. So that may have been a poor strategy call from him there, going for the 3-stop rather than the 2-stop like the other drivers. Apologies for that noise from my water bottle there. But the gap now between Palmer and Campbell is 3.1 seconds. So the freshness of Palmer's tyres really coming into play now. And once again, it looks like it is Palmer's race to lose now. So James Head is just behind V5, who's done another great race from down the bottom of the grid. He's on quite a lot less fuel, so we'll just have to be doing some fuel saving again like he has done the last couple of races. But it may have just paid off for him here if he can hold on to this position. There's only 6.5 minutes remaining of the race and he's up into 6th place. Campbell now looks settling for that 2nd position. Palmer looks to be a bit out of reach this afternoon. Chise has caught up 2 seconds already to Jackster on that lap. So he's got about 3 or 4 laps to catch up another 4.5 seconds. Will he be able to do it? We'll catch up to him at the end of the race. V5 defending from James Head, looks to the inside, trying to cut off James, making any dive there, but it looks like he's a little bit too far back. 7/10 the gaps between them. Right on the back of J. Cole, he looks up the inside, bit of contact between the two. J. Cole goes wide, and that's Conrad up into 9th position. Let's have a look at that on the replay. Oh, that's J. Cole back up the inside. Let's hope we don't miss too much of that action between them. Really late move there, but looked to be pretty clean to me. Let's go back, and J. Cole has got that position back, so let's see if we can catch that on the replay. Nope, I don't want to go that far back. So J. Cole obviously got through to turn 2, bit of contact there between the two drivers actually, but that allowed J. Cole to switch back up the inside, and Conrad dropped behind him back down into 10th position. So again, Chise has got up another 2 seconds in that lap towards Jackster, so he's only got, at this rate, he'll be on him by the next lap. Only 2.5 seconds between them now. So Chise will really be pushing to make up that podium position that he lost through this strategy call. Whiteout currently down in 5th ahead of V5. He's pulled away a bit from James Head on slightly fresher tyres, but he's on a lot less fuel, but he's got to hold on for 3 laps. Is that enough for 3 laps of fuel? He's actually setting his best lap time, so he may want to just save a little bit of fuel while he is 1.5 seconds ahead. He does not want to be losing any time now. But it looks like he has secured P6 for the time being. Any other close battles going on at the moment? B. Morgan has pulled into the pits. But of course Palmer still leads the gap, only 2.6 seconds now, so maybe a mistake from Palmer there, or maybe Campbell is just really pushing to the absolute limits now. It looks like he's made a mistake there. He's 1.6 seconds off his best lap, so that's really not good from Palmer to make a mistake that's cost him about 1 second worth of time. He can't be doing too many of those. Only 2 laps remaining of this race after this. So he really doesn't want to make any more of those mistakes that will cost him time such as that one did, but he's already back up to 3 seconds. The gap is already back up to 3 seconds, so Palmer obviously still has the pace, but just wouldn't want to bottle it like he did at Bathurst. As now Chise is right on the inside of Jaxter. He looks at the inside of the penultimate corner, on the final corner, sorry, and Jaxter runs wide, and that promotes Chise back back up into his deserved P3. And it looks like Jaxter went wide at the final chicane there, and that allowed Chise to sail smoothly up the inside of the Indian driver and up into P3. Of course, he won't be able to catch the other two in front of him now unless they make a big mistake. Gap already now between those two, 3.5 seconds again. So Palmer making up that time he lost on the previous lap already. Chise on the freshest tyres out of these drivers. But his tyres are actually the same condition as his teammate Palmer. So obviously not particularly strong on his tyres, or maybe he's just been pushing a lot harder than Palmer in front of him. P5 still in 6th, 5 seconds ahead of Kyle now, as James Head has lost a couple of positions, and he's right, Jay Cole is now right on the back of him as well. So this is the closest battle we have on track at the moment. Jay Cole just behind James Head. Looks like James maybe made a mistake there behind V5, so now V5 will just be able to save that fuel that he's pretty low on and make it up to if I can actually get my words together. Looks like P5 has secured that P6. It would be good if he was P5, that would all rhyme, but he looks like he's secured that P6. Touch wood, I don't want him to commentate his curse. But James, disappointingly for him, down in 8th position, just ahead of J. Cole, but it looks like he's got the pace to pull away from him slightly, but it's only 6/10 of a second still the gap, so let's see if J. Cole is able to make any of that up on this final straight, penultimate straight, apology. He's got his indicator on. I believe that will just be an accident with him mapping his buttons wrong. J. Cole on barely any fuel now, so, and Conrad racing just behind him, so he's got to last another lap on way less fuel than anyone else around him. And everyone now, they just crossed the line, so everyone apart from Morgan will finish on this lap. Palmer still leads by 4.5 seconds now. Campbell is in 2nd, Chise in 3rd, Jackson in 4th, Whiteout in 5th, V5 in 6th, Kyle in 7th, James Head in 8th, just ahead of J. Cole in 9th, who's just ahead of Conrad Racing in 10th. As Morgan finishes the race. Disappointing race for him, down in 11th position, but let's focus on this battle for P8. James Head defending for his life ahead of J. Cole and Conrad. J. Cole really has to having to defend from Conrad now as well. He's got so little fuel left, I doubt he'll be able to hang on. If he does, it'll be a real masterclass in fuel saving and just timing your stints to perfection. J. Cole looking up the inside of the hairpin now. As I chunk slightly, but Conrad is now up into P10, P9 apologies. As Palmer wins the race. Apologies for missing that there. Palmer comes across the line in P1, Campbell in P2, Chise in P3, but let's jump back to this battle. James Head has pulled slightly ahead, but Conrad Racing is just behind him now. Only 3/10 between these two. Let's ride on board coming down the straight. This is going to have to be a do or die move now. He's right behind him. He's got the better exit. He's in the slipstream. Is he going to make a move up into the final chicane? Looks around the outside. Doesn't go for it. Looks for the switchback. Doesn't go for that either. Is he going to make a move up into the final corner? Doesn't look for the lunge there, and that looks like James will secure P8 out of that corner. Unlucky for Conrad there. Real good effort. James Head comes across the line in 8th, Conrad in 9th, and J. Cole finishes the top 10 in 10th position. So victory for Palmer there. Oh, I spy that little message above his visor. 10 points if you can spot that and link it to what I was talking about earlier. But a great race there, much more action than there was last week. Palmer brings that championship gap down to 4 points, I believe. I believe it's 4. Let's have a look. As I will invite the podium sitters to a party. So Chise has joined the party now. We'll start with you as our third place finisher. How was that race for you?
It was a good one. I had turn 1, got it up into second, and then Campbell passed me, and I just focused on P3.
Yeah, it looked like you went for the alternate strategy there. Can you tell me your thinking behind going for the 3-stop rather than the 2-stop?
I saw the guys behind were quite a bit off, and I was like, I'm not gonna risk it on an extra tire. We're just gonna take a new set of tires. I'm gonna race.
Yep, so good result for SLM there. Campbell, of course, our second place driver. How was that race from your perspective?
It was an all tough race from start to finish. Again, a block incident at turn 1, but I guess that's just the nature of those standing starts. It's happened every race. I expect it to happen again. Lost a couple bit of ground off the start, but then Palmer was just, I think, slightly quicker over each lap throughout the race. Again, at some points had fresher tyres and lost when I had the older tyres, so it was a good one for me. Controlled it from start to finish.
So your gap in the championship now is only 4 points. How does that make you feel?
Can we talk about something else? It's it's not the most comfortable gap. I need to start outscoring them again.
Yeah, of course, no wins since. I don't know if you won on track, but no wins since the first round of the season. Although it seems like there's been more.
Don't talk about it, please don't.
When Palmer's been on a bit of a roll. So speaking of Palmer, we'll move on to him now. Getting a Grand Slam with pole position, fastest lap, won the race, led every lap. How was that for you?
Yeah.
I led one lap.
Oh, sorry, you led one lap. Not quite a Grand Slam then.
To be honest, yeah, I didn't really care about the Grand Slam. I just cared about winning and beating Campbell. Yeah, you know, with 3 races left, with 4 points in between us, it's getting very tight. And of course, with the ART guys, they sort of had a up and down sort of race. I'm not sure where they.
I think Kyle was 7th and Whiteout was 5th. So not a good race for those guys.
Yeah. So of course me and Campbell have got some breathing room to have our battle. But yeah, you know, I'll say thank you to Tice for holding up Campbell at the start. That
I noticed he was being a bit of a rear gunner.
Wait, what?
You know.
Nah, I'd never do that.
Yeah, like at the start I had a bit of a scare because I just had so much wheel spin and I thought that Campbell would probably get a better launch, but in the end it paid in my favour. I did have a little scare with a penalty at the Schumacher S, but yeah, the gap was too large for Campbell to capitalise on that. The worn tyres were horrible to drive on, especially around this track with so many corners. Yeah, it was a really, really good race as usual, and yeah, hopefully I can keep this hopefully I keep this performance up.
Yeah, so much better race than we had last week, and a much better race than you had, I'm sure, after that spin at the top of the hill at Bathurst. But really
Oh, don't
great
worry,
racing
Mikey.
tonight from everyone. Congratulations to our podium sitters. We'll be back next week for Spa. Is it actually in the rain, or was B5 just drunk talking there?
I think it's a lot of the. Just in the dry.
Good. So we'll see you next week for, of course, the best track in the world at Spa. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.